Hey guys, what's going on? I'm pretty pumped to have you all here today because I'm telling you that we are going to rock it out today. We've got the infamous, the one and only Mr. Cotton Grammer. Cotton, you with us, man?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, thanks for the intro.
Well, it's just a brief intro, but trust me, I'm going to let you tell the story better than anyone else. But here's the scoop, guys. So it's just about straight up at 2 o'clock of the hour. Cotton is getting over a little bit of a cold, so if he sounds a little bit gruff or gnarly, that's hey, just give him some slack. I'm sure you will. But what we're gonna do is we're going to just jump into this thing here in just a minute. I'm gonna let Cotton just get in front of the cockpit and put this thing in full thrust, and I'm gonna let him take off as he's talking and as we go throughout, as usual, right? I want you to drop your questions in the question or the chat box, and then what we'll do is we'll break out and we'll make sure we have some time to kind of go over those. I do want to leave enough time for any sufficient Q and A. This is admittedly a pretty rare opportunity to have a guy of this caliber with us. So don't just sit back on your laurels. I want you guys to sort of step up to the plate and go, you know what, we're we're engaging because you're not able to ask Cotton and anyone like his caliber. It's not very often you get somebody live that you can just pretty much ask them whatever you want, and so anyway, what I want to do is I want to make sure you guys can see my screen and hear me okay. So just drop a one in the chat box. If you can see the screen, you should be seeing Cotton's website up on the screen. Okay, got one. Okay, good. And okay, cool. So I presume that you guys can hear me okay. Cotton, just give a just like a quick shout out or something. I want to make sure they can hear you okay on their
Sure,
end.
sure. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me as well. If you can, just put in a two, and Brian will see that and let us know if you can hear me very well.
Twos. Okay, Victorious is a one, but um, so all right. Let's see what's going on here. We have a question. Hold on one second here. I just want to make sure that we've got this squared away. Okay. All right. So again, if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, drop them in. Even regardless of when he's talking, I will man the chat as best as I can. But we're really going to take some time at the end. So all that said, guys, I want you to just just really be ready to take some notes. Jump in here. We are recording this, and I'm going to let Cotton take off, dude. It's your jet. Go where you want to go.
Sure. If you want to toss the screen back over to me, then we'll let go from there.
Absolutely. Let me just do that.
Make me organizer, I think.
Yep. All right. Let me know if you got that.
Full screen. Great. Can everyone see my screen?
Okay, cool. I definitely can. Just drop a one, guys, in the chat if you can see his screen. Okay.
For some
Yep.
reason, there we go. For some reason, I don't have access to the chat. I can't see the chat, but that's okay.
Oh, that's kind of weird. Let me just.
Yeah. We'll get started. You can relay any questions over to me as they come up. Just feel free to interrupt me or whatever. What Brian asked me to kind of talk about today is just kind of handle clients from the beginning all the way to the very end. And I think it's one of the most important aspects of SEO and how I've been able to ramp my business up to about $250,000 a month. And the main thing that you're going to want to do is every part of this starts with yourself. And if you don't believe that you can deliver to your clients, you're not going to. They can sense it. Business owners are very smart people. You're dealing with people that are different than the other sets of society. They've actually got drive, determination. They actually took risks and chances. They started up their own business. And you're going to them and you're asking them to take a risk on you. And if you're not coming in acting or portraying like you are the expert in your field, they can sense it, especially if they're very intelligent. What they don't want to do is they want to feel comfortable that you're the expert so they can let you run off and do whatever you want to do. So the first question, we're going to go over a little bit of minor details here and just kind of go through the whole spectrum of about how I bring a client in and how we just kind of take them through the whole process and make sure that we get them to experience exactly what we want them to do and give them the best possible outcome. One of that things is when a client lands on your website, whether you're doing search engine optimization, every client is going to check out your website. So the question is, how effective is your website? And what I've been able to do with this website, I've literally tested over about 150 different themes in different ways. And I came up with this website. And as soon as this website got put up, to be honest with you, and I know that Mike would kill me when I say this, but that kind of wild country theme that I had up, I did not get one phone call from that for months. For months. And I knew there was something wrong. I was having people land on my page, but nothing was going on. So what happens is you have to ask yourself, does your site look professional? And does it look like that you're at the top of your game? Does it look like you're a $100 million SEO company and that you know what you're doing? And some of these sites that I see, if you could just go over to different places, you could even look, and we'll just go ahead and pull up St. Louis SEO, if I can spell right. We'll just go ahead and pull up St. Louis SEO, and we'll just look, and we'll just pull the number 3 out of the area here, and we'll just look. Now, when I look at this, this does not look like a company that is doing a lot of business. It just doesn't. It's plain. It might convert. I don't know. All I know is that when I look at this, and if this is a $100 million company, they're just letting the ball drop on their online presence. So that's how I look at this. When you look at that site compared to when you're looking at my site, the colors pop, it's well written, everything's going there. It's got proof of what I'm able to do. It lists clients, it lists everything else, has a video, shows where I've been featured at, and no, this is not a press release, I was actually featured on these sites. And that helps tremendously. But the number one thing is when a client gets in your grasp, no matter how they do, whether you cold call them, whether you're going door to door, whether they land on your website, you need, and this is the most important aspect of everything, you need to bring them back to you. And what's confusing those people is if you have a friend, or if it's a referral, if your wife, husband, girlfriend, father, brother, sister knows a business owner, and they said, hey, Cotton does search engine optimization, he's really good at it, you should talk to him. So obviously it's going to be a little less impersonal. I will still direct them to the discovery form, no matter what, to bring them in what I call inside the velvet ropes. So when I mean inside the velvet ropes I mean whether you go to Disney, Universal, whether you have any sort of experience, whether you're at a museum and they're trying to show you something, they have a designated way that they want you to experience, and they want you in this area. When you get out of the area, they gently bring you back in or tell you, come back in this area. And that is exactly what I do to each and every one of my clients. The last thing that I want them to do is them to direct me for the experience that they're supposed to have. So no matter what, whether they land on your website, whether it's a cold call, whether it's a friend or anything, direct them to the discovery form. And what it does is it places them back inside your velvet ropes. And what it does is tells them that you're also a professional. Let's stop and think about if the top attorney in your area, whether it's going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or whether it's going to be the top brain surgeon, all these people, you just can't walk into their office the same day. You just can't. You just can't pick up the phone and call them and get them on the phone. They have secretaries, they have appointments, they're busy, and you need to portray this image. And this is the image that I've portrayed for months. And that's what this discovery form helps do. It sets you apart as that you are an expert in your field and they must apply to work for you. Because what that does is it automatically changes the power. When you go in and when you do a cold call with someone, what you're doing is you're giving them the power of choice. They can now choose whether they want to do business with you or not. But once they say, yes, I do, I would immediately flip it over on them and say, we do have a policy with our search engine optimization firm that each one of our clients must fill out a discovery form. The reason being is I'm no different than a doctor. I need to know every aspect about your business so I can make an accurate diagnosis. You just don't walk into a doctor's office and he automatically says, I'm sick, and he goes, here's your medication. He has to do research to give you an adequate answer. So when they come through and when they read this, you can also set your terms of business. This is your company. You're getting into search engine optimization or internet marketing, whatever you're doing, for your own benefit, not for theirs. And so the company should be designed exactly how you've always wanted it. That's how experts do it. If the top defense attorney in your city doesn't want to work with someone because he thinks they're guilty, that's what he does. Or if he doesn't want to work with DUIs, but he only wants to work with divorce, that's their choice. That's their specialization. This is what you would put on your discovery form. I'm not telling you that I would copy mine exactly, because what's happened is we're getting a lot of people copy it word for word. It's showing up on Copyscape right now. And it would be a good way to find footprints back to OMG. So kind of rewrite it up and put your own flair on it. And as you can see, excuse me, that I put my own rules of exactly letting them know what my terms of business are, which is right here. I only want to work with an active and healthy business already. I don't want to work with any get rich quick schemes, any adult themed material, any startups. And what I'm basically knocking out is just any kind of shenanigans, porn, someone that's just starting up a company. I just have a personal policy, and that doesn't mean that it should be yours. I don't want to work with startups. Startups are generally people that want results very, very, very quickly. They're impatient, and they want everything done right now. It's almost like if you're going and getting a building up, you want it open already. And I've just had bad experiences with startups, and so has a lot of other people. I just don't like doing startups. I want to work with businesses that has a steady flow of customers. I wanted to have a good, solid product and a good reputation. I want everything that we do together to produce goodwill to everyone that we work with. In other words, I want to place things in a better place after working with them, and I want them to make their customers in a better place when we're done. And all of these requirements, and I let them know that I really don't work with everybody. That if they met all these criteria, then they'll fill this out and I'll decide whether I can actually do anything for them or not. So one of the main things when you talk to a client is don't seem desperate. And another thing that I won't do, and I'll just cover this right now with the discovery form, if someone calls me up and says, can you come in and talk to us about search engine optimization? This is my personal preference. I'm not saying that you need to take it on. I don't do drive-bys. I don't deliver Domino's, and I'm not Papa John's. I'm not doing it. So when I get these people that say, hey, come by, I say, fill out the discovery form. I once again bring them inside the velvet ropes. Everything you do is, before we discuss or have a meeting or anything that we want to do, let me get you to fill out my discovery form on my page. It's going to give me all the information that I need. And then we can decide whether I can even do anything for you. I really wouldn't want to waste your time by, blocking out some of your time if I can't do anything for you. And this is going to help me save time for you and myself. So when you say it in a kind and kind of nudging way back inside the velvet ropes, they understand that they will fill it out. Once they fill this out, and if you haven't, I believe the exact questions are on NashvilleSEO.org, and Mike has it wide open, so you can look at all the questions there. Once they fill this out, I have it set up to where I get a text message. And another thing that I don't want you to worry about is, what if they don't fill it out? Well, good question. That means that they were never meant to be your customer. If they can't follow simple directions, or if they weren't interested enough to come back to this page and fill it out, or if they read this page and seen that they didn't meet some of my criteria, they didn't fill it out, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Look at SEO as a lot like relationships, and when men and women get together, or whoever you're dating, not everyone is meant to be a partner. Not everyone's meant to be married or be boyfriend, girlfriend, and not every client is meant to be your client and to have a good business relationship. So if it's just not meant to be, you can't take it personally. So the number one thing that I love to tell everyone is don't take anything personally. You just can't. No deal under any circumstance. I have deals every day. I get at least, I would say about 5 to 10 leads a day in. I probably turn down 9 out of the 10 leads. And I know people go, well, send them to me, but it doesn't work that way. They're just problem people, or they call, they don't want to fill out the discovery page. It's not me. Obviously, my marketing's working because they called, or obviously my marketing's working because we got them to this point and they just seen that they didn't fit my criteria. Or they just realized, man, this guy might be too expensive. That's okay. I want them to think I'm expensive. I'm not going to try to work for anything less than what I think I'm worth. So that's what this discovery form is all about, and why I feel it is the pillar of SEO. to just bring everyone back over here. So, excuse me, when I hear people say, and I just spoke to someone last night, and they had them fill out the discovery form, and they had a phone call with them. That was great. But I hear a lot of people that the moment they get someone on the phone, they're trying to schedule a meeting with them. And what's going to happen is you're going to get there, and I guarantee you that you're not going to get everything handled in a meeting. There's not going to be price discussed. There's not going to be anything. It's just a mess. So set yourself up to be the expert in your city, just like the top director in Hollywood. You're the owner of the news station. You're the best criminal attorney. You're the mayor. You just can't pick up the phone to get there. The mayor's not going to come to your house and answer your questions about what you've done. The best brain surgeon in your city is not going to come to your house and talk to you about why he can do brain surgery real good for you. That's ridiculous. So people can smell desperation. When you're doing that, you're going to look like a regular salesperson that is just desperate, and they're going to smell it, and they're going to bring you down on the price. So I refuse to meet anyone in person unless I'm going to pick up a check or I'm closing the deal. And that's a very rare case. The last time I was at a place to actually close a deal, it was a deal to close 37 clients at $5,000 a month from an ad agency. I felt that was worth it, and they got my attention and worthy of me to fly into Chicago to do so. So there's times where you have to use your common sense when you do things like that. But the local bakery who wants to pay you $500 a month and he wants to come in because he's too busy to talk to you, wants you to come in and you talk to him while he's baking cakes and talk about SEO and not pay attention to you, that's not cool. So once the discovery form is filled out, what I do next is I simply get a video together and I let them know. So let's go through two different scenarios. Let's say someone calls me up directly. Someone calls me up directly, hey, Cotton, I was looking here, I'm looking for search engine optimization. What I always do is I get them to tell me how to sell them, and that through future pacing. So let's say that, that ABC company calls me up, Cotton, we're very interested in search engine optimization and want to know what you can do for us. Well, ABC company, that's great. What did you hope to accomplish by doing search engine optimization for your company? And if you were to go with me as my client, what would a successful SEO campaign look like to you 6 months from now? So what you're doing is you're future pacing them, and you're getting their answer in their mind. They're running a movie in their mind, and it might be the wrong movie, but it's still, you're getting information about what a successful campaign would look like when you got done with them 6 months from now. It's also letting them know psychologically that you're going to be working with them a minimum of 6 months. So now you're kind of seeding thoughts all through the course of the way. And they'll answer you, well, we want to do this, 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 and this, and we would like to accomplish this, 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 and this. Common sense tells you that you don't have to do any more work, but give them exactly what they asked for. I see too many people trying to reinvent the wheel. When clients call up and they go, I want better content on my site, I want to get it ranked, and I want to get more business. And they sit there and tell them, well, we think that you should also do this, 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 and this. That's crazy. Why do I want to do anything more than what they've asked for? It's the same amount of money. It's don't data dump on people. Sell them exactly what they told you that they want. It's crazy not to. And it makes resistance a whole lot easier. So once they tell me that, I direct them to fill out this discovery form, and I let them know that within 48 to 72 hours, I will get a video analysis back to them free of charge. And after they look at it, they can then decide what they want to do. And generally, I get them to call me back. All I simply do is I just bring up, their website, Moz, Ahrefs, SEMrush. I go through a couple things, and we'll go in a little bit more detail. Put it all in the video and just show them lost revenue, show them the amount of money that they're losing, and that's pretty much about it. Send it off over to them. They look at it, they're always impressed. There's not a lot of SEO companies out there that are giving them a free video analysis personalized to them by the expert that they called up to talk to. It's just a professional touch that I see that's always worked very, 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 very well with me. So with that, they normally call me back. If not, I give them about 3 or 4 business days. I then call them back. And at that point in time, I have still never discussed price with anybody. Never have I discussed price. I refuse to discuss price. If they ask you on the phone, well, how much is this going to cost? Bring them right back into the velvet ropes. Just go, that's a great question. Until I get down and do an analysis of everything, and you fill out the discovery form, I really can't say. Well, what's your minimums? It's different from company to company. If you fill that out, I'll be happy to get it back to you. So what we want to do is we want to push them down the velvet ropes. Just keep moving them down the line. So it's important to keep moving them and not deliver any messages of pain. Price is a pain point, so we don't want to talk about it. So after the video is received, I still haven't talked about it. They watch the video, they're even more impressed, but there's still that burning question. And I put not listing the price as a tripwire for them to call me back. So by them not calling me back, or by me not calling them back, they've seen the video, they're impressed. Now they want to know the price. So I generally get a call back first from them, probably about 7 out of 10 times. 3 out of 10 times I have to call them back. But now I have them right where I want them. They're impressed. I've created more pain by showing them that they've lost revenue. And we'll go into that. Hold on. Let me just bring this up and we'll go over this very, very, very quickly. Let me bring this up here. Let's just say that I had a roofing client that's in St. Louis. And this is kind of what I go over in my video. I generally put up a few of the roofing terms on here that we can go after. And what I will basically do is I'll show this to him in the video. And I'll just go, hey, Mr. Roofer, these are some of the search terms that I was able to find in the St. Louis area that we can get you ranked for. And what we've shown is when we added up all the search terms that we could get you ranked for, with the target keywords, we have about 1,700 searches per month around the St. Louis area. That's about 900 page visits. Let's just cut that in half. And if we just get a 3% conversion, which is very, very, very generous and very modest, we're going to get you about 30 new clients per month. Which 30 new clients per month, and we're going to go really low because we know that your roofing clients are over 2,000. That's about $60,000 a month or $720,000 a year that you're losing right now by not having your company placed in the 1 or 2 positions that your competitors are getting that right now. By you keeping this money, this can secure your business to stay alive for the next 5 to 10 years. So that's how important this is, and that's how important search engine optimization is. So this is exactly how I sell them, through pain and through showing them lost revenue and showing them that if they don't have this, their competitors will. So now when I'm talking about how much I cost, it becomes a whole lot easier when I show them what I can bring them, which is $250,000 a year, just from a simple roofing company off of 900 page visits from a 1,700 search. It's crazy. So once they see that, now they get excited. So I would basically tell them that the minimum that I can charge anyone to even start anything right now, and this is myself, and I'm going to go over pricing with you very, very, very quickly. We are so special to be in the business that we're in right now because it can't be offered anywhere. You can't go to any major university, you can't go to Harvard, you can't go anywhere to get a degree in search engine optimization. So we're special. And when they want to get someone that is an expert in a field like ours, what they're going to have to do is just pay a premium for it. So no one can do what we do. So if they were to want to go out and hire a marketing manager for their company, what's generally going to happen is that they're going to have to pay that person about $1,500 a month for them to support their family, which probably comes out to about $75,000 a year, which is modest for a marketing director of a company. That's just my opinion. $75,000 seems like a decent, fair amount to pay anyone. So when you look at that, $1,500 a week, that comes out to $6,000 a month. So I'm not even going to ask for $6,000. With this roofer, I would probably ask for about $4,500 a month. I know that's going to fit in their budget. I know they've seen that I can bring them $250,000 a year if they get there, possibly. Even if I hit that low, what if I only brought them $500,000? Is me charging them $4,500 a month for 6 to 8 months, is that going to break them? I mean, I know I'm going to be able to get my return of investment back for them and double it or triple it. So I'm not ripping anybody off. And once they see that the numbers that are possible, that $4,500 seems pretty small. So what I'm telling you is have a little bit more faith in yourself and start pricing people out at $125 a week, at $500 a month, when there are people that work at the Wendy's drive-thru that are making more money than you are. There are high school kids that work at the Wendy's drive-thru right now that are making $125 a week. There are there's even just this full-time workers at McDonald's, not even the managers, that are getting paid $11 an hour in certain places, that are making gross $400 a week, $1,600 a month working there. So just think about that. So before you start selling yourself short, charging people $500 or even $1,000 a month, have a little bit more confidence in yourself and what trade you're at and what worth SEO can bring people. It's massive. And when you show people what you can bring them, you'll start charging people more. It's all in your mind. The only reason why I've been able to ramp up so quickly is because I realized what my worth was, and I make people believe it. People can smell whether you believe you're worth what you're asking for or not. And that's very, very, very important. So once we get back and they've seen the video and I've showed them this exactly how I just went over this right now, the question is going to be, well, how much is this going to cost? And I tell them. And that's some of the rebuttals that I might get is, wow, that's kind of expensive. Well, you know what, Mr. Roofer? When you've seen the possibilities with even me cutting numbers in half and even me saying 2,000, when some of your roofing clients are commercial and they're even $10,000, $20,000, I think that $720,000 a year is pretty modest for your company. Do you really believe that we're talking about $4,500 a month is too much to bring in at least $500,000 a year at a minimum? They have nothing to say. And then when I talk about how, if you were to go out and hire a marketing director to do this, how much that would cost, then that makes sense to them. Just go, you know, if you wanted to go hire a marketing director to get this done for you, which he's not going to, there's not any marketing director that's going to know SEO as well as I do. You're going to have to pay this guy a minimum of $1,000 a week, a minimum, and that's on the low end. It's hard to support a family unless the wife's also working, or unless you're a single guy at $1,000 a week. You know, if you want to put kids through school or do other stuff. So they're going to understand this, and they're going to go, wow, you know, he's kind of right. So once you bring that terminology into them, you're also showing your worth and you're standing your ground. And you're bringing them, once again, back inside the velvet ropes. You're giving them the experience that they want to. Any question that they have, you bring them right back inside. So with all of that going on, now you've got someone that's probably going to say, and I wouldn't care if he goes, well, let me think about it. Let me see what we can do. But I go, you know, that's like fine. You know, take your time. I don't ever pressure people. I don't ever rebuttal people. I really don't care. I never get attached to a sale. I just really don't. Because here's why. Think about it. Do you think Steven Spielberg, Michael Bay, or any of these big directors, or you know, the president or a senator or the top lawyers, any of them they walk in, someone wants to hire them for something, and they go ahead and say, hey, here's what we can do. Here's how, you know, here's my resume. Here's the work that I've done, and I think we can do a good job for it. Well, let's think about it. Do you really think they're sitting there begging people? Do you really think they're rebuttaling themselves? Oh, please take me. Oh, but you don't understand. You haven't seen it. They're not reacting like that. And that's what I portray when I'm around these clients. So I say, sure, take your time. And when they see that, they're like, wow, this guy really doesn't care. And I really don't. Because there'll be someone else that I'll get. And that's what I know. So if you're worried about it, now when you're a beginner, I know that you can't react this way. You need to try to, but that ought to tell you a warning sign with yourself. Your site's not ranked high enough, you're not ranked in the right places, or you need to increase the traffic coming into your website to get more clients, or you need to go cold calling more, or you need to be doing something to generate more business for yourself. If you're telling me, if you're acting desperate because you're only getting 1 or 2 people reach out to you a month about SEO, and you have to pretty much kiss their butt to get them to come on, then that tells me that you're not either working hard enough, you just started out, or you really need to rank better or go out and learn SEO a little bit better. Because if you do it correctly, you should have enough leads coming in to where I really believe it's impossible with everything that OMG's taught, with everything that what Brian's taught in his Client Crusher Academy and everything else, with everything that's taught, I think it's kind of almost impossible not to go out and ramp up to 10K a month inside of about 90 to 120 days. It's really not that many clients. When I just went over the formula right here of how to price, how to show people with lost revenue and anything, it's literally very difficult. I want you to think about it. If you got 2 roofers just like this, just like this, in a local city, you're looking at $9,000 a month. That's 2 clients. If you're going to tell me that you can't go out and bang it out somehow, now this is what I had to do. People said, well, Cotton, how do you get started and how do you get going? I went out and I rocked it out for 90 days. Just literally got doors slammed in my face. I had everything. I cold called. I did everything. And what I did is I knew I had to work harder than everyone else to get where I wanted to go. And from that, I was able to round up about 20 clients, excuse me, over the course of about 90 days. After that, I took those 20, turned them into more clients. Took those 20, turned them into more clients. Then right now, my phone rings. I don't have to go out and cold call as much as I did before, but you have to work up to get to that certain point. If you're trying to figure out all day long how you can do all these shortcuts or how you can get out of work, I see too many people in OMG and too many people in search engine optimization, internet marketing, spending more time trying to figure out how to get out of work and how to take shortcuts than actually digging in, getting the work done, and getting out there and getting clients. That's what it is. There's nothing glamorous about going out getting clients. There's no push button technique to go out and get clients. You can ask Brian. There just isn't. It's hard work. There's nothing glamorous about it. Once you get the ball rolling, then you can. One of the methods that I've used, and I'm going to share with you right now, which is one of the referral methods that I revealed at OMG Live and I'll reveal here that I've never talked about before, is something called what I call snowballing. And what snowballing is when you get up to about 10 clients, what happens is through the discovery forum, and I talk about it in OMG, and I figured that everyone's here. Is everyone here in OMG, Brian?
Yes.
Good, great. So if you're in OMG, then you can see where on one of my modules there that I went through how to set up people on Basecamp. The only reason that I wanted to do Basecamp, and I never told it when I went over that module, is so I could sell my clients. And you go, well, what do you mean? I wanted to create a sales staff for myself. And to me, I found that going out and hiring college kids or going out and hiring, the old journey salesman just wasn't my thing. I wanted a better salesperson. So what I thought about is how can I turn my clients into my employees? And that's what I've been able to do. How I've been able to do this is I want you to think about it. And we're going to go, let me get back up here. I had this roughed out. The framing basically starts with yourself, and I discussed that earlier. If you can't believe in yourself and what you're able to produce, you're not going to be able to come on and frame the client. Now, this goes in exactly what I'm going to talk about. When you're with clients and when you have them as a client, let's say that you signed on that roofer at $4,500 a month. The next job that you've got is exposing dead drops before they happen to the client. The last thing that you want to do is have this client figure out dead drops. You go, Cotton, what's a dead drop? What a dead drop is if you're ranking his site with PBNs and his site just drops 20 positions. Why do you want him to find that out on his own? I don't. Every possible scenario that can go on, I have developed a video to cover that particular problem. And I drip that video out. I do about 2 videos a week until I've got them all dripped out. Why is it taking so long to rank? Why did my site drop? Just everything. You can think of numerous amounts of things. And I also start slipping videos in there about how they can get their SEO for free. And I also slip it into the videos. Remember, our referral program. If you have anyone that you know that might benefit from what you're doing, I can give you a month free. So when you start framing them, from the very beginning when you get them and sharing that with them, they start to listen. And when you keep them happy, and then you ask them repeatedly, hey, have you ever thought about saving some money a month and sending me some referrals? We've got it included in your videos. They start to go out and work for you. Now, I have only had about 5 clients out of about the 125 that I've got that's never sent me a referral. They just didn't. And what I mean is if they didn't give me a referral that I didn't sign, They sent me referrals, but for one reason or another, they thought it was too expensive. Or everyone always sends me referrals. They might be junk referrals. I just got a couple referrals yesterday to where the guy passed out. Where there'll be business owners tell you, "Oh my God, I don't want to rank and get all that traffic. I couldn't handle it. I'm just trying to do what I'm doing right now." As an insurance agent here in St. Louis, you're gonna have people like that. Like I said, not everyone's meant to be. It wasn't a good referral, so I just turned. But all my clients send me referrals regularly. Some are going to be good, some are going to be great. But isn't it great to have people sending you in leads regularly where you don't have to go out and do that? And how powerful is it when a business owner is sending you his friends of other business owners and says that you're great? It's almost a lay down sale if they're the right person for you. So that's how I've developed clients into my employees and my salespeople, and how I continue to have them do it even after I stop working on their websites. Because what happens is then I start to pay them afterwards. I like paying referral fees, 30% of the first month. So think about it. $1,500 a month is a pretty good amount of money to send a referral over, even for a business owner. Help pay the bills, help pay an employee for a week, who knows? But why not? You know, they like keep their ears open. And I continue to email them and reach out to them at least once every 3 weeks or once a month. All clients, even after I've stopped working on it. So it's very important to build a relationship, but you really want to expose all dead drops for all clients before they ever happen. And what happens is when your client site drops 15 positions, when you throw the PBN at it, and it's possible, and they go, "Oh yeah, I remember Cotton's video talking about that. It's no big deal." Yeah.
That's good.
And then they're like, "Hey, why is my site taking so long to rank?" Cotton sent me a video. He'll go through and look at Basecamp, and he'll just be like, "Yeah, oh, well, let me watch that again." And he'll watch it and go, "Oh, that's right. He told me about this, and he's also sent me a video on it." And then if they still want to call me up and they go, "Hey, Cotton, why is it taking so long?" It's like, "Hey, Jim," I go, "It's great to hear from you." I go, "Do you remember when we first talked when I signed up and I was honest with you up front and told you it was going to take anywhere from 6 to 8 months and I'd hope to get it done before?" "Well, yeah." "Did you watch any of the videos that I sent over to you explaining how long it was going to take and, just kind of refreshing your memory and why it took so long?" "Well, yeah." "All right. Well, it looks like we're right on course." They have nothing to say. Right inside developer ropes. So what you've done is by educating your client and by framing your client every step along the way, it makes your life easier. And what it does is the main reason a lot of people don't want to get into client consulting is because of these phone calls that come in. But if you take care of the problems before they happen, if you give someone a weapon to put out a fire before the fire ever happens, now they're putting their own fire out. They don't have to call you. Or they can go back to Basecamp and look at all the plethora of videos that you put up there of every possible scenario that can go wrong. And that makes them feel comfortable. It's like, "Okay, I know this." And then when it happens, you'll have a smart business owner go, oh my God, my site, oh yeah. "Oh, well, why is this? Oh yeah." Anything like that. Or when an update comes out, I send out to all of my clients, "Hey, looks like a new Google update's coming out. If you're seeing some fluctuations, I wouldn't get too worried about it. As long as you see my site still staying up in the top position, you're going to be okay because we're all built off the same network." Just send out a general reminder like that, and they go, "Wow, this guy's on top of this stuff." It's just take care of these problems before they happen. And by doing these videos in advance, it saves you a world of time. I literally, since Thanksgiving, I don't think I've talked to a client. I've talked to one client since then, and I've got over 70. They're cool with everything because, one, I have reporting they can access 24/7. I don't have to send them reports. They can generate their own from what I use. I'm consistently dripping videos out to them. They have everything they need. They can see the rankings. They see my work. I'm totally transparent. Why do they need to talk to me? They have a business to run. Unless they just like talking to me and they just want to check in or chit chat. And I'm okay with that too. So dealing with clients can be some of the most easiest money that you can ever make and the fastest way to ramp it up. Now, I'm not against affiliate, but to go out and rank a site that's going to make $10,000 a month in affiliate is not going to happen quickly. But I do believe that if you really buckle down and if you use some of the client techniques that's taught in OMG, and some that I'm going to be revealing that Brian's revealed and all that, that you can really ramp up very quickly to $10,000 a month in the next 90 days if you're dedicated to it. Now, there's a lot of people in internet marketing that are interested, and there are some that are committed. You have to ask yourself, what are you? Are you interested to get to that amount, or are you committed to get that amount? I was committed. I was committed to change my life. And luckily, I have. I can't just sit here and tell you that I purposely planned all of the success that I've had. I've just literally locked myself into a hole for the last 11 months and not came up for air. And have been working. So with that, I do believe that if you go out and you take some of the tips that I've given you today, that you're going to be able to deal with clients a lot better. You're going to be a whole lot more confident about yourself and how you're pricing things and everything else, because anyone can get a referral come in. It's how you treat that referral from the moment that they're in your grasp. Is your website professional enough? Does it look like a site that would be run by a $100 million company? Are you acting like you are running a $100 million SEO company? Or are you running to their business like you're delivering pizza? I'm just being serious. So when you take all of these things into account, I literally believe that it can change your mentality of everything that you can do as far as search engine optimization. So I've kind of rattled on for about 45 minutes. If, Brian, you want to open up questions or anything, be more than happy to see what we can do from there.
All right, man. That sounds great. Excellent. So I know I've got some questions, guys, and now is an opportunity to just drop in there in the question box what your question is, and we're going to kind of fire through some of these. Again, I want you to, if you can't think of a question right now, think about some of the things we talked about. Think about when you go right back to the beginning of Cotton's presentation, he talked about posturing. He talked about managing expectations. He talked about earnings. He talked about reeling people in. He used the example of reeling people into the velvet rope. So if you ever gone to a movie theater or something like that, they typically have one rope on the left side and one down the right with a red carpet down the middle, right? Those red velvety furry color ropes. And that's designed to keep you in the corral, so to speak, because they want you to go a particular direction at a particular time, or you need to turn right 20 feet in, you need to go down 30 feet, take another left, and then they're going to direct you to their expected end, which is to the box office window, for example, right? I mean, that's what he's talking about. So I want you to, again, to just go back for a few minutes and really process this. Think about this for a minute, because number one, I want to give you guys a few minutes to ask some questions. I see a couple of questions have come in. We'll get to those in just a minute. Keep them coming. But I want you to think about Cotton had a day one. All of us have a day one, whether you're just getting into this thing and you're really ramping up. Maybe I know some of you here, you have clients and you're doing well, but the question is, think about what do you really want? Do you just want to make a few bucks? Like Cotton said, are you interested or are you committed, right? And having a few clients is great. That doesn't necessarily indicate that you are committed, that your commitment level is, say, maybe a 9 out of a scale of 0 to 10. I want you to think about what is your end goal? What's the end game? You guys know this from Client Crusher. What do I always tell you? Always start with the end in mind. Always start with the end in mind and create your end game and work it backwards so that you've got a very clear, succinct, actionable, action step-oriented plan of action, right? We all need a blueprint. We're building a house. Again, whether you have no clients, you have a few clients, regardless, right? You've always got to keep that in mind. What do you really want? And it can't just be the money, right? It's got to be what type of business do you want? We talk about this in more detail, where you're ultimately wanting to create a lifestyle business where, okay, like what Cotton said, do you want to be able to have a business where, you've got an office downtown, you're managing employees, like he said, getting sales reps? Do you want to be a kind of a mom and pop sort of operation, out of your house? And that's cool too. But you want to think about, how do you want your life to look? Would you rather work 100 hours a week or would you rather work 20? Okay, and then there's going to be somewhere in that spectrum that you're going to fit, right? That's talking about the end game, and having that end in mind before you in terms of both money, quality of life, the activities that you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. That stuff is so critical. And having those pieces of the puzzle, so to speak, laid out in front of you, what I call your game plan, your blueprint, right? In writing, even if it's just a couple of paragraphs or a page or two, like I wrote out for myself. And I'll tell you this, guys, I came within $1,000 of my actual blueprint. I laid out, I set a goal. I remember writing it out. I wanted $250,000. That was my first goal for that year. And I hit it. And I mean, it was just almost uncanny because I had planned out and took some time to sit down and write out these things that I wanted. That was great. That was a good place to start. But then, I segued or transitioned from there. That's the goal stage. Boom, over to what's the next stage? The action stage. How are we going to execute? And it's a series of successive steps that create the success that you're ultimately looking for. Now, all that said, what kind of action are you guys taking? Or all of us taking on a day-to-day basis? And you need to be able to hold yourself accountable. Mentioned Basecamp. I'm telling you what, guys, I've used Basecamp. I've used Asana. Personally, I like Asana. It's a little bit easier to use and it's free, but they're both great tools. They do about the same thing from my understanding, having used both. Whatever your flavor of ice cream is, just lick the ice cream, right? Just take it. So it's all good. But you know what? Then I found that I needed to hold myself accountable, and it could be as simple as just a little bit of some tally marks up on the whiteboard or on a hunk of paper slapped to your computer. How many calls did you make today, right? How many leads did you generate this week or this month? I know, Orlando, you said, man, 5 leads a day. I'm lucky to get 5 leads a month. Well, there's a reason for that. And it's because part of your plan isn't lining up with your action steps, right? Your actions need to line up with your goals. And there's certainly some things that we can talk about in terms of lead gen. And so I just want to sort of frame out a little bit of what he said and then segue over to the next place. It's, because he kind of jumped into this whole webinar was really about how do you manage the expectations for the client. So we're not talking about creating an end game. We're not talking about, necessarily the lead gen process. That's step 1 and 2. We're talking about jumping into this thing at step 3 between those velvet ropes. How are you going to set the expectations for the prospect and ultimately for the client? Because if you don't set them and manage them, well or properly up front, you're going to create just a hornet's nest. Ask me how I know. I'm sure Cotton could tell some stories, right? Because he didn't know all this stuff day 1 or week 1 or month 1. It's a process. And what I want to get over to you guys is, okay, think about how, when you're having conversations with prospects, how are you framing this thing up, right? And are you seeding the conversation with really verbiage that you want to implant into their thinking? Okay, how do you see us, how do you see your business 6 months from today once we've gotten started, right? I mean, there's some psychological stuff happening, like you said. This implies we are working together for at least 6 months, and you want to find out, you want to get in their head a little bit. So I'm just sort of reiterating a little bit of what he said. And the last thing I'll leave off with, and I'm intentionally doing this because I want to sort of summate, but also want to give you an opportunity to ask more questions, is this. When it comes to pricing, because I know several of you have asked me, hey, Brian, how do we price? Personally, I like to give about 3 different options: a low, a conservative, moderate, and aggressive option for people. And they each have different things, and they each raise up in price about 20 to 30%-ish. Okay, that's personally how I do it. That's one of my questions for Cotton that when I just finish up here, I'm going to start off with that, talk about pricing. But all that said, guys, you've got a couple of different components, okay? You've got that first component getting started, then you've got your action step component where you're doing lead gen. Then this step here, Cotton really covered really succinctly today, where you're managing that process. See, what I really like, by the way, is, Cotton, the way that you do that in your forms. And I think you said you're using Gravity Forms on your site, where you control that process. And if they're not filling that out, you know what? We ain't working together. We ain't talking. Next. I really like that, because you're deciding from day 1 how the relationship is going to go, not the other way around. And that's one of the things that I really struggle with personally when I first got started was, holy cow, I feel like they're the boss and I'm the employee. But you've really got this thing mastered and dialed down pretty tight, especially with the volume of clients you've got, the income that you've got, that you're in full control of the business. That's really the takeaway here. And I want to point the question back over to you guys who are listening. How in control of your business do you currently feel right now? Do you feel like you can control your lead flow? I'm asking some questions. I'd like to get your feedback. How do you guys feel in control? A scale of 1 to 10, or 0 to 10, 0 being worst and 10 being best. How in control do you feel of your lead flow on a weekly or monthly basis? How in control do you feel of your business as a whole? How in control do you feel when you talk to either prospects or clients? Those are three primary areas that we really talked about today, about setting expectations, determining how this relationship is going to go, and ultimately this will lead you down the path of, I'm going to create the result that I set out to do, that I intended to do, or I'm going to feel like I'm frustrated and just spinning my wheels, so to speak, running again on a hamster wheel, hoping to catch a breath. So I said a lot, but what I want to do is, again, if you guys have specific questions, and it doesn't have to be just about what we talked about today, but let's start off with that. Super. What I want to ask you, Cotton, is especially for the benefit of the group, tell us a little bit about pricing, especially when you first got started relative to today. Do you give options, or do you say, boom, this is the price, take it or leave it? Can you just give a little clarity on that?
Sure. I pretty much had pricing down before I ever started. I'd been in sales consulting for a decade before that with Fortune 500 companies, so I already knew what the worth of what I had to offer was, and I always knew that that was going to be the angle. I guess that was my biggest kind of fast track to clients from the very beginning, is I had to show them what I knew I was worth, and I knew that that had to be through lost revenue. You have to always have something that's going to grab someone's attention when you're doing a presentation, or show them something where they've got a hole in their business. And when you go in and show someone the amount of revenue they're losing by not being there, that's massive. So based upon that, I don't really have a set formula on pricing. What I basically do is once they fill out the discovery form, and I've got forced questions they have to answer, and one of them is how much you're spending on an advertising budget. So once I know that a company is spending $10,000 a month, it's very easy for me to go in and ask for five. It's just shifting money over. When I see that a company doesn't, or isn't spending any money whatsoever, I look at that as almost a yellow flag. It's not a red flag. It's going to be very hard to pull $1,000, $2,000 a month out of them. There's like going to have to be their like action threshold is going to be a little harder to get past. They're not going to be as trusting. You have to understand, $2,000 a month is a mortgage payment to some people. It is obviously a lot of car payments, and it's a lot of money. I don't care. In the regular world of the United States right now, $2,000 is a lot of money a month. So if someone's not used to that dollar amount, it's very difficult to get them to digest that in their head, that, oh my God, this is a great deal. It doesn't matter that they future pace and see, well, he's right. I know that he can bring us, another $50,000 a month or whatever. That action threshold is still very high, and it's hard to bring it down. So with clients that have no advertising budget, I generally realize going in that I might get a little resistance, but now I've gotten smart enough now to where I'm hunting or going after clients, and sometimes you can't choose your clients, but I like go out hunting for clients that I know that have massive advertising budgets, to where $10,000 a month is nothing to them to spend on advertising. When you deal with people like that, it's easier to get bigger money, and I would rather work with less clients that pay a higher amount than obviously more clients with a less amount. So in the beginning, you're going to have to take whatever you can. I just literally let my instincts, and I know this isn't a very good answer to everyone, I've still never come up with a formulaic way to where, oh my God, this is exactly how we do it with every time, no matter what. Once you talk to someone, and that's why it's important that I talk to someone when they fill out a discovery form, I call them back and thank them for doing it, give them a little chit chat. It gives me a feel of what I'm working with and dealing with. And when they say, well, what do you want to accomplish? So I kind of let my intelligence that I gather about each person guide how much I know that I can charge them or what I can't charge them. So I wish I could tell someone that I had a formula, but I really don't.
So you give them one price, not three options.
I give them one price, and that's it. If they don't want to budge on it, then I will decide myself if I was going at it aggressively, and I've gotten pretty good at it. You're always going to have to adjust yourself. When you start charging higher, I don't encourage you to stick to it. The greatest part about being a smart business person is adaptability and changing and finding sweet spots and correcting the mistakes.
Mm.
Uh, if I feel that I was very aggressive, then I might drop it down a little bit. But obviously, the 101 of sales is it's always easier to go lower. You can't go higher.
Now, if you
So,
okay, so just to interject there, if you save, you quoted somebody $4,500.
mhm.
Do you say for X number of keywords? You just say, listen, $4,500 a month for us to optimize and get your website ranking. How do you differentiate that? And the second part of the question is, if you don't give them a finite amount of keywords and then you drop your price, they might say, well, what am I getting less, or what are you doing less? So just kind of a two-part question there.
Those are all great questions, and I've always avoided all those because I feel that those are pitfalls for me.
Yeah.
When let's say that I was to get someone like the roofer, and he calls up and says, "I want to rank in St. Louis for roofing." Well, how I rank my clients, I've got to hit all those keywords anyway. I can't just go, roofer St. Louis, roofer St. Louis, roofer St. Louis with every link.
Right.
I've got to hit all those keywords anyway. So if it's generally under 5 or 6, I'm just going to try to go for all of them. I don't care.
Okay.
It doesn't matter that much to me. So they're going to naturally rank anyway. So what it enables me to do is tell them, because we're taking on a little bit more keywords than than I'm accustomed to. It's it's going to take a little bit longer, and I always give them an expectation of 6 to 8 months that things are going to be completed. But I never set a limit on keywords. I've got clients. I have a client right now that I'm tracking 23 keywords for him, and then he tried to flip it on me and goes, "Well, you're not ranking for those." I go, "I'm just tracking them. I'm not ranking."
Mm.
So and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's right." So I'm like pretty loose about all this sort of stuff. I don't feel that having a regimen or rules about it, too many rules and just too many stuff. I've always found it didn't work well for me. It can work well for other people, but unless it's a national keyword, and I know they got a lot of money. I'm not going to set limitations. If it's an auto shop or something that's
Sure.
around your local area, why do I care if they give 2 or 5 keywords? I'm going to rank them all anyway.
Sure. Now the question
That's
is,
the thing.
okay, sweet. No, thanks, man. That's wonderful. For clients that say you've been working with for 6 or 8 months, you've got them to the top. Do you like to put them on a maintenance, like drop the budget down, keep the budget the same, or you just fire people and let them go? I mean, even though it's recurring revenue.
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. I always, and I don't know why I've done this, and people gasp when I say this about search engine optimization. I just thought it made sense to me, and this is from being naive when I first started SEO. I always gave my clients an end date to where we're going to part ways. Always. When I'm
Mm.
done, and when I've got you at your goal, we're done. And I want them to experience the return of investment, and that's when they're going to be most willing to send you a lot of referrals. So I look at it like this: I can either beat this guy down for another 2 months at 4K and get 8K out of it, or I can, congratulate him. We've done our job. We've got you where you are, and I'm going to continue to look over your stuff, but you don't have to pay me anymore. They're happy. They're ecstatic. And then I turn around and ask them, if you're really happy, you want to help me, send me some referrals. I generally find that I get more referrals after I let them go than while they're with me. So then I generally get about 2 or 3 referrals off of them. I'm up to 12K now, consistently for another 6 to 8 months, than I
Mm-hmm.
was just trying to beat them up, and they're going to resent you after a while. Because if not, just do PPC. Why did he use you anyway if you're going to keep trying to? This is my philosophy. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that everyone should follow it. In my mind, it's like, why did they just do PPC anyway? Just not even do SEO if they got to keep paying money. So I always try to give an end date. Always, always. And what a lot of people don't go is, and I've never shared this in a lot of places, my income fluctuates between $50,000 and $80,000 a month. I bring in about $50,000 to $100,000 a month in new revenue from dropping clients and bringing on new clients.
So that's quite an interesting. I mean, that's a shocker. So you're basically losing 50K a month in sales or in revenue, but you're gaining more than that.
Exactly.
Wow, that's powerful. Orlando was saying, when you're approaching prospects, how do you manage that if they don't fill out the marketing budget question? They have to fill that form out, right? It's required?
Yeah, it's actually forced.
Okay, so
No, I mean, they can't even move forward if they just do exclamation points on there and like do it. I will immediately call them up and say, "There's one question on there that you neglected to answer that I really need from you before we get started." You have to understand if they're going to resist you
yeah.
on something, and if you want to find out if someone's committed and interested in doing business with you, they'll fill that out and they'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
What they're trying to do is game you and jack with you by not filling out all the questions. That's a red flag to me.
Yeah.
And I'll give them one shot to correct it. Because if not, I don't want a relationship to where I'm asking someone to do something for me. Hey, can you give me the WordPress logins? Or hey, can we do this or this? Or especially paying you. Paying you. That's another thing. And I don't even want to get into that right now, but I don't care if you've got PayPal subscription or whatever. You still got to go chase money.
Right.
At least I do.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is how they're reacting right there and how much integrity they've got tells me if I'm going to get paid on time as well. Hey, you're late on your payment. Or I've had a lot of clients where PayPal's declined on subscription. Oh my God, that messes up everything. And then, you've got to call them up. How well are they going to respond to your requests? If they can't do something as simple as fill out that discovery form, they can't correct the mistake that they have in there for you, what makes you think that they're going to jump to get your money quickly every month?
Yeah, that's a good point. Now the question here is, how did you know when you first started what dead drops to inform your clients about? If you were a beginner, how did you anticipate those? And
that's a good question because you'll only burn me once. You'll only burn me once. And then after that, I'm like going to make sure it never happens to me. I'm like one of these people where I feel, hey, I can make a mistake once, but if I make it twice, it's my fault. That's what it is. I've just made more mistakes than anyone else. The very first mistake that I made that devastated me when I first started out, it was I think it was in the end of February, and I signed up with OMG January 15th. I had a client. I was so sure that he was on. Oh my God. It was my girlfriend's, one of her clients, because she's a financial advisor. He owned this rail car company. I was so rusty. I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. And we get to the end of the conversation, and he goes, yeah, this sounds all great and everything, but do you have any written recommendations or testimonials? As soon as I call up or see 3 of those, and we can move forward.
Wow.
I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, never again will that happen to me.
Right.
Never again. So what I did was I got 3 people. And you know what? He called me up. He called them up and treated me like I was some person applying for welfare.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know Cotton? Is he a good person? Is like all this? Oh my God. And I was like, never again will this happen. So what did I do? I went, and you can look the date. If you're in the OMG LinkedIn group, that's the day that I went and requested everyone to trade written recommendations with me. And if you'll look at my LinkedIn profile right now, I've got over 40 written recommendations from business owners all over the world talking about how great I am at what I do. Every time any time a business owner asks me that question right now, I smile. And that's why I put it on my site. And you can all see my site right now still. You can still see my page, right?
Yep.
And this is all from this. Testimonials. This is why I put that up there, because it burned me so bad. And my first time with OMG, that look, you may visit. This is my LinkedIn page, which is my LinkedIn profile testimonies of real business owners and CEOs. Feel free to add me as a contact. The statistics show that over 66% of SEO internet market testimonies are simply just made up or fabricated. Here's what a few are saying about me. These are all cutouts from LinkedIn.
Nice.
Of what people are saying about me. And you know what? I want them to click on this and to go here, and they always connect with me.
Mm.
And they read my referrals and they can't say a damn word.
Yeah.
So my advice to you is if you ever get burned, what are you doing not to ever get burned again? This all comes with me getting so angry that I got treated like this when I got burned, that I created this.
Yep.
So it never happens to me again when I'm doing it. So that's how I know, because I've been burned. And that's what you have to do if you're going out and getting in sales. You've just got to move forward. You gotta crack some eggs, man, and just get out there and do stuff. And you're gonna get burned.
Yep.
And you can say, how can I never get burned like this again?
Mm. That's a
And,
good
and
point.
so then you think about it and correct it.
Yep, indeed. Two last questions here. Vivian is saying, did you create your own website or did you hire somebody to build it for you?
I created my own website, which was identical to nationalseo.org. Then I went out and I found this, and I was helped by a designer who is with me right now. And he's really not on staff, but just any sort of web design I have right now, I just give to him, and I give him 100% of the money. So he finished up everything for me.
Nice.
And I did the color schemes, the pictures, wrote everything, but he just kind of put it all together for me, because I really don't want to be good at web design. That's just not my thing.
Mm.
So
Yeah, no doubt. Last question is coming from Bruce. Do you make promises to clients for results?
absolutely, absolutely. And I always tell them, this is my promise. If you're a client right now, say, Cotton, can you guarantee this? Yes, I can. From everything that I've looked at, I guarantee you that I can get you in the top 5. And I can get you there within 6 to 7 months. If it goes after 7 months, I ask for a 60-day grace period after that to get you there. If I haven't got you in there during that course of time, I'll refund 100% of the money back to you. And my whole point of it is, if you can't get that, if you can't look at someone in the eye and tell them that, get out of SEO.
Mm. Wow, that's pretty bold promise right there, man. But that tells me something about you, about your SEO. Now, the question would probably come up, and this is a question from yours truly. Are you sitting there doing SEO all day long? Are you doing phone work, or do you have some folks to help you out along both of those lines? Where do you spend most of your time? Obviously, you got enough clients. It's going to be tough to do everything. You can't be a one-man show and make the money you're making.
Yes, I can, Brian. No one helps me. No one helps me with anything.
Wait, really?
I don't have one outsourcer. You can see the picture right there. That's my girlfriend, and she helps me with a little bit of stuff. She handles the Facebook advertising stuff.
Woo!
She like handles some of the maps stuff for me. But all the SEO, all the sales, and all of everything is handled by me. I don't trust anyone else doing it. And
Wow.
I mean, I have people that have offered. We have mutual friends that have offered to do my SEO for my clients. I'm really not at the position yet to where I can't do it myself. I'm going to get there, because my goal in 2015 is to ramp up to $500,000 a month by June.
Mm.
So once I double what I'm doing right now, it's going to be impossible for me to do it all. Because right now I've got a system down that's pretty simple to get everyone ranked fairly easy, that literally only takes me probably about 10 minutes when I first get a client. I just set it and forget it the rest of the month. So I'm not using PBNs, but I don't really want to get into that.
Sure.
Have I used PBNs for months and months? So I'm just ranking things differently than everyone else and getting less work, more success.
No, that's excellent. Super. Well, thank you, man. This has been wonderful. I hope that you guys have really gotten some real value out of this. He dropped a few really key value bombs. To me, the biggest aha moment that I personally had, guys, was that, it's managing those expectations from day one and being in control, being the business owner, instead of almost acting like the employee or the person who is subservient. And one of the things that I personally really liked, Cotton, that you see that you do here, is your discovery form. I mean, that right there is a great indicator. If somebody's not going to fill out that form and they're not going to follow your process, out, fired, even before we get started. I mean, that's pretty much what you do. And, I really, really like that. So, thank you for bringing it home, man. It's been really, hopefully it's been really helpful. It's been very powerful for me.
one of the things I just want to share with everyone is just what I was doing last night. You know what I was doing last night? I was studying SEO for 6 hours.
Come on.
I mean, I was literally going into I just crazy stuff to where I found a course that this person had discovered some stuff. All I'm saying is, guys, don't expect. Just know this: we're in an information age right now, to where information is all around us. If you're not busting your butt, someone's gonna pass you up. I mean, that's just the way it is. The hardest workers are always going to make the money, especially in internet marketing. So I could rest on my laurels right now and go, hey, I'm making all this money and I've like got all this coming in, but you know what? It scares me to death because I've got to defend it now. And I'm working harder now than I was 6 months ago. I'm learning more about SEO and more about client conversion and just testing stuff there than ever before. And if you want to get to $50,000 a month, or if you want to get the type of money Brian's making, or you see Jimmy Kelly or Greg or myself or Becker or anyone, I can tell you something. I'm very good friends with Becker and talk to him every day. That dude is working like me. He messages me at 6:30 in the morning and at 1:30 in the morning, just like I do him. I mean, it's that crazy. And so he's always trying to look for an angle, always trying to do, so am I. So what I'm saying is we just don't get here by luck or we just fell into something. We are literally working harder than anyone else. You know that if Greg Morrison is up at 6 a.m. every morning and he crashes, he works so hard, takes care of his sons, he crashes about 10, 11 o'clock at night, he does it all over again, all over again, all over again.
I tell you,
So
it's
yeah,
well
it's
said,
hard
man.
work. Hard work.
Absolutely.
So all I'm saying is if you're scared about making a promise to your clients about SEO, or if you're scared that you can't get your client ranked, that's your fault. All the information is in OMG. And if you don't have the information, you know what I'd be doing? I'd be banging down Brian's door, or my door, or Jimmy Kelly, or Greg, or someone who, I don't want to bother you guys. Well, guess what? You got to bother somebody. I'd be finding out how to get better. And that's what I've done. I, like Brian, am very close with Jimmy Kelly and a couple other SEOs that are better than me. I can't be great at everything, but if you surround yourself by great people, then you can get some of their greatness and you can be better than everyone else. So all I'm saying is if you're always the smartest person in the room, you're in deep trouble. So please work harder. Don't rest. And if you're not at $10,000 a month, when you get to 10, go for 20. And I'm telling you, once you start getting 20, and Brian will attest for this, going from 25 to 50 was probably easier than going from 0 to 25, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was.
Right.
It really
well,
was.
Guess what? I went from 150 to 250 in 40 days.
Nice.
And I'm going to go from 250 to 350 here in about 3 weeks. And it's going to be so easy, it's ridiculous. So once you keep ramping up higher and higher and higher, it gets easier and easier and easier. It's just or either that or I'm getting smarter, and I don't think that's the case. So either way, but I just wanted to just drop that last thing. Keep working very hard. Keep working very hard.
That's good. It's well said. Appreciate that. And guys, I want to encourage you, take some action. If you need be, go back and watch the recording on this. For those of you who are watching the recording, you couldn't attend live. Seriously, I want you guys to just take a few key points out of this, and then take action based on what you've heard, regardless of the type of business you want to build. Whether you want to build a traditional offline consulting business, maybe selling SEO like Cotton does. Maybe you want to go out and sell leads like pay-per-lead. Maybe you want to have a web design business. Regardless of the application and the execution, you want to make sure that you're taking action. And by the way, thank you, Cotton, for taking some time here with us. People are saying thank you so much. Tremendous thank yous. The response has been wonderful. So I want to say thanks. I appreciate that. If you guys have any additional questions, that's what the Facebook group is there for. Just go ahead and drop those questions or comments in there. I'll have a document with the notes, some cheat sheet, if you will, takeaways like I did. You saw that last week. So I'll continue to do that because I think that'll be really helpful for you guys to sort of reel in, chew the meat, spit out the bones if need be, and then send you on your way. So that said, again, Cotton, thanks for bringing it home, man. I appreciate the time. And everyone else, take action. We'll see you, I think, next week on Wednesday. We're We're gonna have another really special guest. You'll be wowed. I promise you that. So guys, take action. We'll see you soon.